I've locked myself in this room with my laptop. I don't know when they're coming, where they're coming from. Hell, I don't even know if they're coming. But what I do know is that they're out there. They're right outside my door, in my backyard, hidden behind the trees, just out of sight. All I have left is this laptop, so I write this to whoever finds it. In order for you to understand, you must hear my story. It's quite a tale. I recently moved into my house that I bought and paid for, in a small town, and the house itself was 3 floors, 4 bedrooms, and 3 baths. And it had a beautiful view of the forest in the backyard. It struck me as odd that it was cheap. It was as cheap as it was, being such a big house. Now I know why. About a week ago, I got all my things moved, and the strange things started happening. Among the first are power outages, strange noises coming from the woods, the occasional shadow crossing the trees. At first I thought it was just because I wasn't used to living in the woods. My imagination of power outages would be explained by being an old house in the middle of nowhere. However, things gradually got worse. After a few weeks of the previously stated occurrences, I could have sworn I saw trees moving, but not like the wind. No, actually moving. But I thought it was just my imagination, and thought nothing of it. However, one day when I got back home from work, I saw the garage door of my house had just been opened. Someone had broken into it. I ran inside as fast as I could. Maybe I'd catch the guy who did it before he got away. But strangely enough, when I went in, not only was nothing missing, but I found strange stacks of twigs, leaves, and the like. I called the cops anyway, told them they should keep an eye around the neighborhood, if people were breaking in, that was. I swept a bundle of foliage outside and didn't give it another thought. I went to my bedroom and fell asleep after that. But as my day couldn't have been remotely good, I was awoken by something bizarre, a blood-curdling screech of pain like no animal I had heard before. It was terrifying, to say the least. I didn't know why it was terrifying, but when I heard it, I felt true fear. It continued for the rest of the night, hours of torturous fear. When the sun arose, whatever had been making the terrible sound stopped. I looked out the window to see what was making the dreadful noise, but saw nothing. It wasn't the last time I heard it. Either it started happening every night, but by the 5th day, I was missing enough sleep that I just built up enough courage to go out there and figure out what the hell was it and how I could stop it. I wish I hadn't. I grabbed my handgun and a flashlight and went to the woods. The sound still screaming through the forest. I shined the light throughout the forest. Still couldn't see a damn thing. I grew closer and closer, and the sound grew louder and louder. The dreadful screech made my head feel like I was imploding. My ears started to bleed. The pain was terrible, but I had to find out what it was. And as I crossed one last tree, I saw it. It was 10 foot tall, on all fours, covered in brush, bark, and scales. Its mouth was open, screeching as loud as it fucking could, showing 3 rows of sharp teeth. Sharp, barky teeth. Its eyes were yellow and reptilian, and I only got a quick glance at it, but it will forever be embedded into my brain. I turned to run, but more of them seemed to come out of the ground with the same terrible sound. I ran as fast as possible back to my house and locked the door behind me, but when I got inside, I had a revelation. The stack of twigs, my garage door, by far big enough to let those things through. They had opened it. I don't know how. I don't know why, but they can get in. I quickly grabbed my laptop and locked myself in the small cellar. Far too small to let them in. I can still hear that sound, that deafening sound that rips my soul apart. I just can't take any more of this. So I write this to whoever finds it. If you ever see a stack of twigs in your house unexplained, or see the trees move on their own, my God, if you ever hear that dreadful fucking noise, God rest your soul, run away, move to the city and never look back. But it's too late for me. They're in my head. I can hear them calling out with their noise that would make the devil himself cry out in pain. The only thing I can do now is sit here and pull this trigger. Hell would be a great improvement to this noise.